Well, welcome back to the channel. Today is May 31st, 2026, and we're about 4 a.m. in the morning. Today I want to talk about SEI, ticker symbol SEI, and it's been having a little bit of a resurgence here, and I just want to go over the signs that I'm seeing. I think that there's actually some more downside to say, but I want to just show you what I'm seeing in the charts. So I am a long-term positional trader. I prefer to trade long-term instead of short-term. I have a day job, so I'm not a professional trader and I'm not a financial advisor. So please keep that in mind. What I'm going to be covering today is just what I'm seeing in the charts and what my interpretation of it is. I might be wrong. So let's just get into it without any more halting here. So say I'm looking at the Coinbase chart for say. I don't know if there's another chart out there that has longer history, but say entered Coinbase in 2023. It had a price of $1.01. It crashed to about 9 cents and then had a bull run for about 6 months and it topped off and it made a high of $1.13. And ever since then, it's just been pretty much in a bear market. Now, even though it's been in a bear market, there are times when it has, I guess you could call them mini bull runs, but I more call them pauses, but because I'm looking at this from a long-term perspective. But it's been 2 years and or 730 days until we had this latest uptrend. So as you can see, there's these 4 month breaks, and if you look at the gains during these breaks, so it came down. Um, Let me try this again. Let's see. Here we go. And I don't know why it's not it's not being very cooperative today. All right. So that was about 5 months. It went down 95%, and then starting from this point, it made it to about it had a 255% gain over 4 months, and then it proceeded to go back down again. And at the next pause, it came up, and it did about 197% run, not bad, and then boom, down again. This time, as you can tell, this little bear has been it last had a after its bullish formation, which was about July 2025. It's been going down until we had the start of what appears to be a V-shaped recovery. So why is it having a V-shaped recovery right now? Well, uh, this is probably because of how far it is away from the 20 moving average. So I'm going to throw the 8 moving average here. So this is the 8, then this is the 20. That means that if the 200 moving average was to show up on this monthly chart or the 50 moving average, that means it would be up here somewhere. And but it hasn't had enough history to actually put those onto the chart, so we're just stuck with the 20 and the 8. And as you can tell, if you look at this price right here, you can see that it's really far from the 20 and it's pretty far from the 8, hence creating what short-term traders call a three-finger spread. So this would be finger 1, finger 2, and up here there would be, and then you'd have your price here, and that's the third finger. And the reason why this is occurring is because the price likes to be closer to the 20 moving average. And so you have kind of have these V-shaped recoveries. They may never. Sometimes they come up and they get very close to the 20 moving average, and sometimes they don't. They just, it may go halfway, or it may just stop at the 8. That's a possibility too. And again, we're looking at this from a monthly time frame. In the lower time frames, you'll sort of see this a little bit, but the moving averages are a lot closer to price on the lower time frames. So V-shaped recoveries can be great, as they would call momentum or swing trading, because they you know it's all you just get these bars and bars of going up, and then it kind of stops. So where we're at with say right now is it looks like it's trying to do a V-shaped recovery, but the bars are not exciting. You see how you have these long wicks, and it's not like this. So that's sign number one that all might not be good with say. So I'm gonna go to the weekly moving average, and here is the 50 moving average, the weekly moving average, the 20 weekly moving average, and the 8 weekly moving average. So say has not entered into what I call a momentum trend formation, because normally you want the 8 moving average to be on top of the 20, and then the 20 to be on top of the 50. So we have not yet entered that formation, and but the the good news, there's kind of bad news and good news of this. I can't predict what these particular moving averages are going to do, but one concerning thing is that the 20 is still moving down. So it's still at an angle where it's saying that it thinks there's downside to say. The 8 is starting to curve up, and it may cross the 20 moving average, but usually when you have more momentum, what happens is price kind of gets to escaping the moving average, and so you kind of see the bars kind of start hovering a little bit higher above the 8 moving average line. Right now they're sticking very close. I actually kind of like that they stick a little close, but it is a sign that it's not really explosive, because you're not seeing the price kind of jump off the moving average on the weekly here. If we go to the daily, as you can see, the 200 moving average is pointing down, but it's at a slight angle. You can make an argument that it's trying to flatten out. And you can see here that the 8, the 20, and the 50 are very bunched together. And that can be a good thing. As you see that the price kind of had to fight above the 50, and the 50 is currently holding support of the price, because so the price is here, the 50's here, so that's good. But you're kind of seeing the 8 and the 20 fight each other. No, they're not putting themselves in the correct orientation. What you really want to see, like I said before, is you want to see the 8 come out on top, which it looks like it's trying to do here. Okay? And you want your 20 to be here, and you want your 50 to be here, and you want them to start curving up like this. And then eventually you would have the 50 cross the 200, and that would be your daily golden cross. And at that point, you would hopefully start to see a rise in price kind of going up here somewhere. Now, I I just randomly stopped it. I have no idea how high it's going to go, but that's sort of the formation and the process that you want to see the stock to do. So what are some other signs that we can tell that there might be some choppy waters for, say? I'm just going to remove this. Well, I'll just say remove all. I'm just going to remove all these. We'll remove all the drawings, including the thing. So what is some of the things that we're seeing. Up, it jumped to a different stock. Let me get Say back here. Okay. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move to this other chart where I have some more indicators on, and this is the monthly chart of Say with the relative strength index with the parasolic the parasolic indicator on it. We have the stochastic RSI, and we have the money flow index and the MACD. So from a monthly perspective, uh, you know, this is kind of rough because with relative strength index, you normally want it to be considered oversold when it's below the 30. However, for some reason on monthly charts, it can definitely get below 30, but you see this in the stock market a lot. You also see this with their crypto coins. On the monthly chart, you sometimes never see the price actually dip below 30. It can dip to this range of about between 30 and 40, and then start its move up. So we're in technically oversold areas. We'll talk more about this line here in a second. Uh, with the stochastic RSI, there has been no confirmed cross up over the 20. And even though it's crossed below the 20, we're waiting for it to come up above the 20, and that has not occurred. The money flow index is pointing down on the monthly chart. So, ironically, as you can tell, there was some money put in when the price was going down like this. But it's now currently pointing down, and so it's going down. And the MACD, there's not enough history for it to be of any use. So what we're going to do is drop down to this weekly chart, and this is where I actually drew this bar. And as you can see, this is with the relative strength index, you have this trend line. 1, 2, 3, 4 touches. You can kind of also maybe consider that a touch. And the RSI has been respecting this trend line uh, since essentially the top. So that's been over 2 years. And as you can tell, the RSI has failed to get above this trend line since it started. If we look at the weekly stochastic RSI, it's already had a confirmed downtrend below the 80. So essentially, the RSI is crossing back down, which means that that say is losing momentum. And I have no idea. I can't really make a prediction if the stochastic RSI is going to do something like this, or if it's going to go down. So as you can tell, there's a lot of questions with say. One interesting thing is the money flow index is still pointing up, and we have bullish divergence for the money flow index. And the reason why I say that is this money flow index went up, but price has not made a higher high above this last high of the candle. So that is technically bullish divergence, meaning that the money flow indicators is saying that things are more bullish than what the actual chart is showing. So that is a positive. Okay? And so, you know, that's where we so you have parts of the chart saying, it's sort of doing okay. And then you have parts of the chart that are saying, it might be big. So what how do we navigate this? Uh, because we're not seeing like confluence after confluence that you're in great shape. So let's go back to this chart here, and I'm going to go back to the monthly chart, and it may and let's see here. Let me tidy this up. I don't know why it kind of got exploded on me here. Okay, so if you got into say somewhere around here, let's say, I think that based on the previous movements, you might could count for some additional profits, because this was 4 months and this was 4 months. So I would recommend maybe putting your stop loss beneath. If you haven't put a stop loss yet, or if you had a stop loss down here, I would move it up to here. And you could even consider, because this is the end of the month, there's only 14 hours to go. As long as say doesn't drop and turn this bar red, you might could even put the stop loss say halfway point here, and then that way you're covered essentially if something goes wrong with say, because we are seeing kind of choppy waters, and these wicks are pretty long, so if you don't want to be stopped out early if there actually is more upside to go. So my best guess for say is I think that it's going to have one more positive month, but it's going to be a weak bar. I could see it being like a indecision candle like this, and it might be a green indecision candle. Um, uh, Now, if during that third month, if what you want to look for, if you go to the daily chart, what you want is you want to see these moving averages start to spread out more, with the 8 on top, the 10 in the middle, and the 50 on the bottom. And you want to start seeing them curve up, and you want the price to kind of follow with it. And it's ideal if the price sticks fairly close. Like if it gets above this side, that's no problem. That's not a big deal. But let me take the 8 out to kind of show you what I mean. These little bumps like this from the 20, that's fine. But if it starts getting up here, that gets worrisome because it's getting too far from the 20, and you can expect the price to kind of uh, start moving down to try to get closer to the 20. But if it stays about this high and comes down and then goes up like this and it's curving up as it goes up like that, that is really promising. So that's what you want to look for. Is you don't want this 20 to stay below the 50 for a long period of time. So if you start seeing this formation not to form and to break down, then it's not good. Now, the 8 is in the process of going above the 20, which is good. That should hopefully raise the 20. But like I said, it's like a stormy sea right now. It's not really starting its formation, so it's kind of up in the air how far say can go from here. So I hope this perspective helps you out, and may God bless your trading journey. Amen.